Hey, good morning, good day, good afternoon, wherever you are in this side of this world. My name is Otis Toussaint, and I'm here with Army Medicine, and we're going to talk today with Dr. Geisler, or Geisler, I don't know how you pronounce it, Geisler or Geisler, she'll let me know afterwards. We're going to talk to her today about her world as an Army OBGYN. And so I hope that you enjoyed today's discussion with myself and Captain Holly and the doc. And I hope that you stay tuned for our hour-long discussion. So here we go. All right, so I am glad, as you see, I'm purposely avoiding product placement. So we're going to try to be interactive and fun today. It's going to be a good discussion today. It's going to be very informative. If you're an inspiring medical officer, or you just want to know about Army medical careers, I hope that you stay tuned today for this discussion. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to my co-host, Captain Holly Weaver. What's going on, Captain Weaver?
Hey, everyone. Hope you're doing great today and having a fabulous Tuesday. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Otis, I appreciate you coming on here today with me so we can do this awesome interview. I'm super excited for our special guest today. For anyone that is new to watching our series, what we have done is the Medical Recruiting Command in USAREC has joined forces with Otis over at the Office of the Surgeon General for Army Medicine. And we are highlighting currently serving Army medicine professionals so that our force can see the amazing things that our nurses, doctors, and healthcare providers are doing, as well as inspiring the future of Army medicine so that anyone that might be interested in serving in a full or part-time capacity in the Army Reserve or on active duty can find out more information, can ask questions live, and can just see the unlimited opportunities that are within Army medicine. So we started this series at the beginning of the year, and we have had an amazing response, and we've already had some great guests, and today is no different. So I'll kick it back to you, Otis.
Oh, absolutely. Today is definitely no different. Today, I have the opportunity to talk to the good OBGYN, Dr. Geisler, or is it Geisler or Geisler? I'm saying her name all kinds of jacked up. What is, do you know the proper way?
I believe it's Geisler, but she'll tell us.
She will. All right, it is Geisler. I see her shaking her head, yes, in the broadcast room. Holly, I am thankful that we're able to continue our working relationship like this, as far as telling the story about Army medicine, telling the different folks, hey, we're not only just, great defenders of the democracy across this world, but we have medical professionals all the way from the letters A to the letter Z. And if you want an opportunity to be part of this Army family team, this Army medicine team, you will go ahead and check us out today. Of course, you see on the bottom there the contact information if you want to reach out to Captain Weaver and you want to find out, hey, tell me more about this MOS. What is this? Can I be a doctor? Am I too old? Am I too young? Am I too big? Am I too little? What do I need to do in order to join your team? That's her information right there on the bottom if you want to reach out to her and get that information. So without further ado, we've got the guest, the woman of the moment, the OBGYN of OBGYNs. I know she's over there in USAREC, and USAREC is representing our discussion today. Let's go ahead and bring her on. Major Promotable, Brit Geisler.
Hi.
Hey, how are you? Hey, what's going on, ma'am?
I'm doing well. It's not quite sunny in Kentucky, but living life and loving it.
Okay. Living life and loving it. Hey, I am thankful that you're part of our discussion today. You're inspiring potentially the future Army OBGYN that's checking out your discussion. So no pressure at all. You just got to perform in today's discussion. I hope that you live up to it.
I know. I think about all my mentors throughout my career, and to think that I could have even just the smallest impact, and especially in the 60 Juliet community, is just a little bit overwhelming, and hopeful that that if anyone's out there, and most people don't combine Army and gynecologic surgery and obstetrics as that you could do that. So most people are shocked when they're like, "You're an OBGYN in the Army. How does that work?" Do you deliver babies when you're deployed? Stuff like that. I get that all the time.
Understood. And, the general public tend to not really know, specifics as far as what does an OBGYN do, your roles that you play maybe in garrison or in a combat situation that you may go to. But before we even go into that, can you just give us a little bit of a background about who you are, where you're from? I hear animals in the background, but it's okay. It's okay. This is a live discussion. We're gonna make this happen. Kind of give us a little bit of background about who you are and your OBGYN career.
Well, I was born in Levittown, Pennsylvania, and moved around a little bit in the latter half of my young life, because my mom was an Army nurse. She is CRNA. She is a CRNA. She works for down in San Antonio. And I ended up graduating high school in Hawaii, which most people say was an awesome opportunity. And it was an amazing place to go and kind of reinvent myself and figure out what I wanted to do with my life. After that, I did an ROTC scholarship at Oregon State University, where I got my undergraduate degree in microbiology, and kind of stumbled through figuring out what I wanted to do. I always knew that I wanted to be an Army officer, but exactly how I was going to serve. And I came up with a great idea of an MD PhD program, because then I could do kind of crazy bio research. And, that's when Hotspot came out and Outbreak. I was like, that's what I wanted to do with my life. And I got into Uniformed Services University, the MD program, but I didn't get into the PhD program. So I was like, okay, now what am I going to do? Because I did not want to be a clinician. And so I jokingly say I didn't want to be a doctor until third year of medical school. Really, it was because I didn't want to be a clinician until I started my clinical rotations. And when I started my clinical rotations, I did my OBGYN rotation and was just blown away. And I fell in love with OBGYN and said, this is what I want to do with my life. And so I kind of, at the back half of my medical school, really tried to work real hard to get into my residency program of choice. And really that was difficult because I had troubles in medical school. I took 5 years to graduate medical school. Luckily, the extra year was a clinical year. So I was really in my element to being a clinician. And I was able to work real hard and show that that's what I wanted to do. And I deserved to be at the San Antonio Military Medical Center in their OBGYN program. And so that was my first choice, and I got it for residency. It's a 4-year program. And then after that, it's kind of going from one small hospital to another, and then got me to USAREC. It's been kind of a windy road after residency, and it's been a blast.
You said a blast. Can you tell us what were some of the more difficult things during medical school? Maybe something that was difficult to you, and how you overcame that difficulty.
I didn't really figure out that I was not a great standardized test taker until I had trouble with standardized tests in medical school. Because it was really, really frustrating, because there's the USMLE Part 1, which is a very scientific standardized test. And that's the one I had trouble with. I was hitting the wall with USMLE Step 1, but I was passing most of my other classes, and I was actually doing my internal medicine rotation when I got my my results saying I failed my USMLE Step 1, and I was passing my MBME, so I was passing internal medicine with like flying colors, and then passing that test, and I was like, this doesn't make sense to me. So I had to really ask for help with figuring out how I needed to study and how I needed to reevaluate how I needed to take standardized tests. It was, I guess, that was my first kind of roadblock, was standardized tests. And so I actually went to a course with a friend of mine, and we learned how to take standardized tests and how to study for standardized tests. And my dean said it was the biggest change in between Step 1 and Step 2 scores that they'd seen in the school, because once I learned how to take the standardized tests, and Step 2 is more of a clinically applicable test. It was when I was like, okay, I'm a clinician. I thought I was this, uber scientist, but the universe is telling me that I'm a clinician.
Gotcha. Sometimes you just got to listen to what the world is telling you. And
yeah.
We're thankful that you listened, you checked out what your limitations were, and you conquered those limitations. That's a lesson within itself, won't you think, ma'am?
It was a hard one, and it's definitely easier to look back at it and figure where it took me into my path, and say that was necessary. But when you're in it, it's hard to have the larger perspective. But I was glad I tell all of USIS, anyone who will listen, if I was not in the military, I would not be a physician, because of the amount of support that I got during my hard times and throughout my career. And the hard times, it is the support of the military, the infrastructure, the friends, the colleagues is really what got me through the stumbling blocks, the growth experiences, opportunities.
Gotcha. And I know, Holly, let's go ahead and jump into some of your questions.
Absolutely. Otis, before we kind of get too carried away, I just see the comment section kind of going crazy already, and I don't want to, I don't want us to, get too far into it without bringing up a few of the comments. So I'll have you do that, and then I'll go into my first question. Good
catch. I kind of glazed over that a little bit. Sorry about that. So we've got some different folks from all over the world leaving comments. And if you've got a question or a comment that you want to send in to any of us, especially the good Doc Geisler, go ahead and send it on over. Write it down in your comment section in whatever platform you're watching it right now. So we've got one from, let's see, Mr. Mike Seabolt saying 82nd, 122nd ASB HSC company is tuning in to our discussion of what's going on, Mike. We appreciate you very much so. We've got one here from a Hunter Bruce, said, I've been out a year now, and how much trouble would it be to join in back in? Maybe we could ask that question. Send that question over to Captain Weaver. Send her over an email or something. She could probably square you away with that question that you have right there. We've got one coming in here from Brenna Ryan. She says, current Army HPSP, OMS1, and OBGYN hopeful. So excited to hear from you. I see the smiles. I see the smiles. Doc, you want to chime in on this?
And continue to be hopeful. A lot of people get worried because they don't think of OBGYN as an Army specialty. We as a specialty now refer to ourselves as gynecologic surgeons and obstetricians to really highlight the variation of our care. We do everything from primary care to women soldiers and dependents to complex gynecologic surgery to obstetrics. And so when you're in a situation where you have such a broad spectrum of specialty, it is extremely applicable to the Army. I mean, our women soldiers are 13 to 15% and growing. Our women are being put in situations where they need the care from gynecologic surgeons and obstetricians. So, I mean, keep on it. And my cat is going to visit. So that's the thing. He was good all day until right now. I apologize.
It's all right. Hey, ma'am, you might be inspiring a future Army veterinarian to check out our discussion right now. So there's no issues with the cat.
Yeah, you're lucky my 4-year-old's not here today to, yell in the background. He's at school, so.
Got you, ma'am. Got you. So we've got some more comments jumping in here as well. Let's go ahead and post one of these comments here. And it's from a Rebecca RN. She says, I had the pleasure of working with Major Geisler for years. She's amazing.
I still have her stress sparkles. I've worked with her. She's up at Bassett in Fairbanks, and when I would sit at her desk and have her sparkles and stare at it when I was stressed, and she sent it with me. And it's actually at my office, and I still have them, Rebecca. I miss you too.
Oh, excellent. So we've got some more comments here. One from Miss Judy Campbell. She said, yes, she is amazing. Had the pleasure of meeting her at Keith A. Campbell Memorial Library. What exactly is that?
Oh gosh, I don't remember exactly where that is.
We'll do some research on it, and I'll come back to that answer a little later. But thank you very much for the comment there, Miss Judy. Let's see. We've got a final one here from Miss Anna Campos. Said, I'm looking into Army HPSP and wondering what was your favorite thing about serving in the Army as a physician? Go ahead. That's for you, Dr. G.
Oh, my favorite thing? That's actually harder than it sounds, but because I think the overall, because I mean, most physicians, they want to help people, but having the higher sense of duty and service to our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, because I mean, we take care of everybody, but knowing that my care is for the best and the readiness of the force and the readiness of the United States military, it just brings the pride to another level. So when, of course there's good days and bad days, like any career, like any person, like any, but when you really have the bad days, that sense of purpose is the sense of purpose is one that kind of brings me out of the bad days, is putting on the uniform and knowing that I'm going to take care of kind of the best.
Excellent. All right. So Holly, let's go ahead and jump into some of the questions that you got, Holly.
Absolutely. I think, those comments were awesome. Thank you all so much for, first of all, tuning in and just sharing your comments and your questions. So keep them coming. We'll be here for a little while longer. So if you have a question, please send it our way and we'll do the best to get it answered. So I'm not sure if you knew this, man, but I actually worked labor and delivery for a little bit over at Fort Riley and had a great time doing that. And, is there a delivery or just a moment, maybe during a surgery, that stands out, where things might not have been going, as you wanted them to, and your military team came together and worked as a team, and what did that dynamic look like?
I have been extremely fortunate to work in small hospitals. And most people think that that's a bad thing, because I was at Fort Polk, Louisiana, and then Fort Wainwright, Alaska. And those are small rural medics, or small community hospitals. And I say I was fortunate because the bond that the team has. I remember one specific time when I was up in Fairbanks, and you're in Fairbanks, Alaska, you're interior Alaska, and there was a possible abnormal placentation. I was suspecting it was an increta or a percreta. So that's when the placenta grows into the uterus. And, I was able to get the general surgeon, and too easy. And I was doing the surgery, and my team knew by my voice changing when things were going wrong. And we knew each other because, the OR nurse was scrubbed in for my C-section, and I delivered the other OR nurses, took care of her babies, and the anesthesia so it was family. So they knew when it was the, something's gonna happen. And they knew that, when I was like, get the hiss set, okay, like everyone stopped talking and did what they needed to do. And communication, especially when the people so well. And that's why I say I was fortunate to work in those small hospitals, that your team becomes your family. And, Rebecca, as she said in the comments, I'm able to go and cry in her office, stuff like that is really the experiences that I am so grateful for.
Wow. When you were talking about that and talking about how your team was able to tell, that before something was even, going wrong, and it was just that change in your voice, that kind of gave me chills, because that's a sound team working together when you know each other that well and you have been working together in such an intimate setting. So thank you so much for sharing that.
And the laughs, I mean, in the OR, you're laughing, and you're having, not always, but you can have such an amazing environment. And, all I got to say is, can you get the ligature impact in the room, please? Oh, okay. All right. No more laughing. Let's get to work. It's undescribable.
Absolutely. We really appreciate you sharing that. Okay. So this month is Women's History Month. And, first, we're just honored and thrilled that you are here among us. And, we want to recognize you because you're phenomenal and a great Army physician and Army leader. So thank you so much for being on with us. But I would like to know, who would you like to recognize and celebrate during Women's History Month? Is there maybe another Army medicine woman mentor, or someone that you've looked up to, or that has positively affected your career?
My mom, she did 23 years in the Army Nurse Corps. She's the reason I wanted to wear boots. I'm a crier, if anyone knows. I would shine her boots when boots were shineable. So watching her and her career was definitely a path that was easier to walk. I've been so fortunate to have mentors. Major General Crossland, Brigadier General Kruger, she went to flight surgeon course. I went to flight surgeon course with her in 2009, and I've been able to call on these women. Also, the people I serve next to, Major Mel Nolan. She's an OBGYN too, and she's my safety float at times. So surrounding myself with strong women. Lieutenant CC Brown, she's a HPSP a student right now, but she was a Black Hawk pilot and a captain when I met her. And these are women that that have impacted me in such intense and amazing ways, that makes me want to be better for them because of them, and made my path easier to walk.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. And just a huge shout out to all of the awesome women that you mentioned. Maybe they'll check it out, or, you can let them know that you gave them a shout out and thank them for the positive influence that they have had on your career. So something that you mentioned as you were talking about the different women that you wanted to celebrate is the flight surgeon course. So that is something that we hear quite frequently is, sometimes people, they want to get into Army medicine and, they're interested in the different opportunities that they could have that they wouldn't have in the civilian world, such as the different operational opportunities, such as flight surgeon school. And as we can see, you also have some other bling on your uniform, that different courses that you've attended. So could you just highlight for us the different operational opportunities that you've had and have been able to do, even though you are a surgeon?
There are a few kind of career tracks in the military: the clinical track, academic, operational, and kind of leadership. And there are program directors, professors that are wearing the uniform within our RGME. There's operational medicine. So there are brigade division corps surgeons, and the flight surgeon course is one of those operational schools where you learn how to be the physician for the aviation. The aviation community, because they have special requirements to make sure that their readiness is 24/7, that they're ready to fly, and they have their special medical needs. And that is, I do have EFMB, it's the Expert Field Medical Badge. I was a little bit, longer in the tooth when I went there. I went in 2018. I was one of the older people in the highest ranking. And that is a very difficult, challenging course, airborne school, air assault school. And then there's hospital commanders there are physicians commanding brigades. You have so many opportunities. And then there's the weird ones, like being an astronaut. We have military physicians that are astronauts. We just had one that was in the International Space Station, Dr. Morgan, and all that kind of research. There's people doing malaria research all around the world, and they're wearing the uniform. So I think it's definitely easy to put an Army physician in a box, but we have so many cool opportunities. Like, how can you be an OBGYN and a flight surgeon and, go to be kind of an operational medicine? I've found the variation in my career to be really, really cool. My operational tour was with the 3rd Cavalry Regiment, and I was their Regimental support Squadron Surgeon, and was able to do some stuff in Afghanistan that was really, really awesome. And that was one of my favorite times in my career, is to work with the medics and the soldiers at 3rd CR, Brave Rifles. And I still talk to them. And so that's, to go operational, then go back to clinical, and then to be here, to be at the Medical Recruiting Brigade and do a completely different thing than I ever thought I'd do. And then I could, go back to clinical if I wanted to. It's just, the variation has been a lot of fun.
Hey, sorry about if it seemed like I left for a moment. I was there all along. As you could see, the cameras are switching here and there. All I'm doing is really checking out the background as far as the questions and comments that people are sending. So I'm glad to be back, and let's continue in doing what we're doing. So let's pop up another comment or question that I see on our timeline. And the question is, what does your work look like during deployment? Do you assist in general surgery? Do you still focus on OBGYN related care? I think you've kind of answered that, but you could go more detail if you'd like to now.
As a 60 Juliet or gynecologic surgeon and obstetrician, we can deploy in multiple kind of roles. One of them is deploying as an OBGYN and doing OBGYN specific work. And those are usually in the field hospitals. I deployed as a GMO, which is a general medical officer. So I was the unit's doc. So I was in a Role 2 aid station where I was doing sick call. And because really, a lot of the sick call is stuff that are, aches, sprains, fevers, illnesses, gastroenteritis, those kinds of things that as an OBGYN, talk to a 9-month pregnant lady and tell her if she, ask her if she's ever had back pain. So these are kind of, things that we deal with frequently within our own specialty that was easily translated over. I was co-located with a forward surgical team, so I was lucky that they definitely were happy to have another surgeon, so I could help them out. I was not the primary general surgeon. I just was the assist, and that was just because the FST was next to our aid station. So.
Okay. I know you're using some acronyms, and wait, hold on. Before that, Brenna, thank you for your question that you left there. I know you left some acronyms there that maybe the general public really don't have an idea what you're talking about. It's all right, man. We won't punish you. We won't punish you this time. FST, what is that all about? Can you explain it to me as if I was a fifth grader?
An FST is a forward surgical team. They are now called FRSTs, or forward resuscitative surgical teams. Mm-hmm. It is a team that is pretty much an mobile OR. So it is a team of every person that you need to be in an operating room and attend with, an OR bed and OR and instruments. So they're their own kind of unit. Our FST forward surgical team was a reserve FST, which we were extremely happy to have. And so they're 2 surgeons, CRNAs, OR team, critical care nurse, and everyone needed. And so when I showed up and they're like, "Oh, yes, come on, scrub in, help us out." It was very, very cool to have that experience.
Oh, wow, FRS teams, it almost sounds like medical Avengers. They just go and they go to a location and they perform their duties, and then they go back to wherever their homes are to live their normal lives, I guess.
Yeah, and the resuscitative portion is now they're integrating ER physicians and emergency medicine physicians to do some of the resuscitative medicine portion of it. So they're there and they're extremely mobile, so they can get pushed out close to wherever they need to provide life-saving surgical care for the soldiers within that kind of golden hour.
Excellent. And so, ma'am, I know we spoke before we even started our discussion today on fitness and stuff like that, and your eyes absolutely glowed when you mentioned fitness. Can you speak to us, not necessarily about the branding and all of that, but can you speak to us a little bit about what importance and what things that you may have found in your journey in fitness and how it affects you today as a medical officer? I wasn't always I was the PT 3 times a week when my ROTC unit made me, and push-ups, sit-ups, and a 2-mile run. And so what really started my true fitness journey is when I was at Fort Polk at the gym. I called it the grunting section. So the powerlifting section of the gym intimidated me. So I'd go in and I'd use the treadmill and I'd run out. And it got me really irked that I was uncomfortable. So I decided, hey, I'm going to learn how to do that.
And I might not I'm almost 6 feet tall. So I'm a bigger person. So when I found powerlifting, I really kind of found my niche. So what I'm really happy about is that the Army has come to me instead of me having to go to the Army. So with a new ACFT, I'm like, finally something for bigger people that can't run real fast but can pick up heavy things. And then after I had my son, for a little over 4 years ago, I found spin, and not the brown branding, but yes, the Peloton. And that really, I know, because we talked a lot about it before this, because my bio, anything Peloton. But that kind of hooked into the cardio portion and the overall wellness of fitness. And it's kind of like practice what you preach, and the Army makes you at least stay some level of fitness, but having the hook in a supportive community and have it be fun. And I found out that I needed to have good music that I didn't need to pick, because if I had to pick it, that's too much thought. I needed someone telling me what to do. It's like I've been in the Army my entire life. So I need someone telling me when to push, because if I chose, I would go and I would run 2 miles at the same pace, never do intervals. I'd never push it real hard. I'd just get on a bike and spin, right? So I need someone to tell me what to push, and I needed to have fun with it. And really that's what hooked it in, is the combination of having someone to have fun with it. I found my niche of fun. And then I also am still doing powerlifting programming, which is the cardiovascular fitness as well as the strength fitness. And so like my husband tells me is like, it took me 34 years to realize that I'm a big, strong girl. So be a big, strong girl. You're not going to be 5 foot nothing because you're almost 6 feet tall. Like, just get over it, be a big, strong girl, and be happy about it. So it really took that. I'm like, oh, and then click. So
it was a perfect match to say the least. Ma'am, so we've got some, and thank you for answering the question regarding fitness and the importance of it to you. We've got some good questions coming in, and actually some good information for those who may be checking out our live stream. So I guess an important comment that I'd like to put as far as the MCAT. Do you remember your days in the MCAT and preparing for that and all of that stuff, ma'am? Hold on. Is it a? I see it's a trigger. So do you want to go there or not?
No. I like I said, there's now like that I look at people's packets for HPSP. I just think as like how I was so unaware of so many things when I was going through the process of applying to medical school. Like, I look back and don't know how I got here sometimes, because it was like, oh, the MCAT's next week. Okay, let me take the MCAT. I didn't do very well, but thankfully got into Uniformed Services University. And like, I was so uninformed. And the generation nowadays, and I can say different generation because it is a different generation now because I'm getting older. Yesterday was my 39th birthday, and I'm proud of that.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. But this generation is so much more informed than I ever was. And it's just so impressive. It just blows me away.
Let me add on to that point. In order to, I see some good information coming actually from the Medical Recruiting Brigade in regards to the MCAT and staying informed. Here we got a little thing right here from Miss Kelly Stark. And she says, for those who are still in the need of MCAT or improve their scores, check out march2success.com. You can register, no cost, obligation for the MCAT practice test. Hey, Kelly, thank you for leaving that post. I will admit to you though, Kelly, because if you didn't put that Medical Recruiting Brigade ESS at the end, I'm like, who's this person advertising on our discussion? I was about to delete this information, so thankfully you put that information out there. Thanks for sharing that, Kelly. So a question that I see coming your way that you could answer, ma'am. The question is, hello, ma'am. I'm an Army HPSP OMS 3 who will be auditioning for OBGYN residency at Summer, BAMC, TAMC, and WRN MMC. What advice would you give for a medical student on audition rotations? Additionally, could you speak about the role of an OBGYN while deployed? That seems to be a repeated thing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Go ahead, ma'am.
So again, I'm not a program director. So my advice would be from what my personal experience as a medical student and then as a resident when I was at BAMC. That's Brooke Army Medical Center. It's now San Antonio Military Medical Center. When you're doing your rotation is, like I said, I was probably not the best on paper candidate, but I worked hard. I showed them that I was a member of a team, that I'd be willing to go that extra mile, that like I wasn't going to just be like, hey, can you wake me up when you do that delivery? It was truly to ingratiate yourself as a member of a team, and don't just be there when the staff is there, because the residents get a vote. So really show that you're a hard worker, that you're a member of the team, and that you're professional. And really, and you don't feel like you have to sell yourself, but just to show that you are a darn hard worker, because that's what I can say that's what got me. My program director is like, we've never had a resident that's ever been in your academic situation. And I mean, and Colonel Robinson took a risk, and he when he was retiring, he said he didn't regret that. So
I've heard the saying, thank you for your comment there, Alyssa. And I don't know if I'm saying it right. I think it is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So yeah, maybe I'm jacking up the comment, but it's something in that.
Some Peloton instructor probably said it once or twice.
Probably. And I just took it and mixed it up in my head, and now it's part of my thing.
The mantras.
So we've got some more comments coming in here. So let's go ahead and share another one from Geo James. Major G, great job leading the way with your EFMB. There's plenty of soldier clinicians that do great medical work, but do not do the Army schools. Great way to demonstrate your place in Army medicine, especially the junior soldiers. Speaking about the junior soldiers, ma'am, has there ever been a junior soldier that's, you're higher ranking, but you're never too old and you're never too high ranked to be inspired by someone around you? Has there ever been a junior soldier in your career that kind of stood out, that inspired you in your medical career?
I said, I already gave the shout out to Cece Brown as a medical student now, but also I think she's is she a captain yet? Lieutenant Cowick. She is an inspiration to me almost on a daily. She's one of the medics that I met when I was in the 3rd CR, and she was a specialist when I met her. And she said, ma'am, I'm gonna do what you're doing. And she's actually doing more. She went to OCS, and now she's a lieutenant and got her airborne wings. And I think she had her first airborne unit jump recently. And she's just, they say that you should mentor the younger generation, but you should always have a younger mentor as well, so that you're, don't get too out of touch. But there are medics that I've worked with from the 3rd CR. There are scrub techs I've worked with at hospitals that just motivate me every single day.
Excellent. Thank you, ma'am. And Captain Weaver, go ahead and jump into some questions you got.
Absolutely. Okay, so you briefly touched on your current role. In your current role at the Medical Recruiting Brigade, if you could just tell us a little bit more about that, and what the different things that you do to help shape and just the entire medical corps as we are recruiting for both active duty and reserve positions.
My title is the Medical Corps Recruiting Integration Officer, and I jokingly say the longer your title, the less important you are. But I'm the liaison. I am not a recruiter, but I like to think of myself as the recruiting expert or not expert, the recruiting SME or subject matter expert to the medical corps, and the medical corps subject matter expert to the recruiting. I kind of bridge that gap because like trying to remember what the MCATs were like, most people don't remember how their path was to get into the Army. So a lot of physicians don't know the recruiting realm, and our specialties are so esoteric that I'm the translator of physicians. So what is the difference between board eligible, board certified, unrestricted, restricted license? All that kind of stuff is my role in the recruiting. And also I've been trying to shape and be involved in a process improvements throughout the accessions process, and engage in from the Army leadership to some civilian medical leaderships, and also talk to physicians that are interested in joining the Army, and try to advocate for both the Army, the medical recruiting brigade, as well as advocate for our applicants as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, ma'am. If you were to, let's say I am a physician and you're on the phone with me and I'm wanting to join the Army medicine team, what would you tell me bottom line up front, about the opportunity, just so you could share if anyone's out there and is thinking about it, coming from the integration officer?
Yeah.
Army medicine is an opportunity to do evidence-based, excellent care to some of the best, most worthy patients in great and difficult environments. And I want physicians that I am proud to stand next to and serve with, and that are going to be the first thing people see on our soldiers see on their worst day.
Wow.
That's powerful.
Ooh, buddy.
I'll be right back while I go apply to medical school.
I believe in this mission so much. It's. I mean, even as I love the Army. I wanted to be in the Army before I wanted to be a doctor. So it's such an amazing job. And for the other physicians, do you like a one payer system? They'll get it.
Yes.
What's that, man?
I'm
a little lost on that.
Having a one payer system, having TRICARE. So knowing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So knowing that any patient that walks through your door has the backing of the entire TRICARE system to get the care that they need, that I don't have to question whether it's going to be covered. I don't have to question whether I'm going to bankrupt my patient by sending them downtown to the specialist where they might be admitted to Anchorage for 6 weeks, awaiting the delivery of their premature child. Like stuff like that is like having that power to know that I can do evidence-based, amazing care for my patients almost no matter what is super freeing.
That's an excellent point. I'm so glad you brought that up. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So we've got some more comments coming in. Of course, I'm kind of just filtering them through, making sure the right ones are being shown on our discussion here. So we've got, let's see, from Miss Michelle B. Watson. says, happy birthday, Doc G. She works in recruiting brigade, right?
Yes, she
Oh,
does.
yeah, I know her. Hey, Michelle, what's going on with you? Let's see. We've got some, I think these are more regular questions. So questions like this, where you said, how do prior service with medical waivers go about getting back in? Does any one of you two know the answers to that? Or is that something that we should direct them to?
So there was a comment from the recruiting command about the qualifications for becoming and getting in the regular army. So I'm not sure if Dale is talking about coming back in for Army medicine, or if he was prior enlisted. For Army medicine, we do allow some waivers, and more so than for our enlisted service members. It just truly depends. So it just depends. Dale, are you trying to come back on to serve enlisted, or do you have a specialized degree and are a healthcare provider? That kind of plays into the answer. So if you are a healthcare provider, feel free to reach out to me at one of the means below. Or if you are just trying to serve again, then follow the comment from the recruiting command. I believe that's on their page, and it has an email address where you can reach out to find out more information if you'd be qualified to come back in on serve.
Excellent. Thank you for answering that, Holly. We've got one here from an old friend of mine, Miss Laurie Walker Maggione. I went to OBC with her. She is probably, and she's going to potentially be a future guest on our discussion. She's an Army dietitian, so shout out to her. Super talented, great person. But she says, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Thank you for reminding me of that comment there, Laurie. You are awesome. I appreciate you. So, ma'am, I guess we're kind of close to the end of our discussion today, and of course that hour kind of just flew by. Just as we mentioned before, it would. If you had the opportunity, and you had the choice of switching to a new Army medical career other than OBGYN, what would you jump into, if you don't mind me asking?
Interesting you say that. I'm actually going to my second residency this summer. I applied and got accepted to aerospace medicine. So aerospace medicine residency is a 3-year residency. It is a combination of preventive medicine, occupational health, and you get your MPH while you're there. So my plan is a definitely an aviation specified, obviously aerospace medicine, but also I feel like there are still some healthcare disparities even in the military, because we are a living, breathing organization, just like society is, that will help guide my path to provide women's health in a different capacity, in more of a preventive medicine, occupational health kind of military way. So,
wow, perfectly timed question, I guess. So, thank you for answering that very much so. Holly, do you have any other questions that you'd like to ask?
I just was blown away when you said that. I had no idea, and I think that's an awesome opportunity, and we'll be definitely interested to hear how that turns out for you. And you're continuing to lead from the front, and that sounds like an amazing opportunity, both for yourself and Army medicine. So thank you so much for sharing that, and all the best to you in that residency.
Yeah, it's down in Fort Rucker, and I'm really looking forward to it. I had a blast when I was in the flight surgeon course, and love helicopters. And I mean, my mom will probably take credit, since I went to space camp when I was in first grade. So I was like, if they say, could you be an astronaut? I'd be like, yes, of course. But I'll be their doctor. Yay.
I think more than anything, though, ma'am, you're kind of breaking the mold, and you're showing inspiration for a lot of folks who may not have necessarily thought of being an OBGYN or having a woman doctor attending to them in the military. This is wonderful. This is a great image. This is a great career that you've chosen. And we very much so appreciate you taking the time to come and talk with us, ma'am. So I guess in closing, if you'd like to give any shout outs to anyone out there who may be checking out our discussion, and anything that you want to put out there, ma'am.
Oh, thank you for everyone who's helped me with my path, who's who's blazed through the path before me. And I can definitely think of tons of names, and the ones that I don't think of, as a woman that 20 years ago, when I was at 21 years ago, when I raised my right hand and took my first oath, when women weren't allowed in every MOS, and when openly our LGBTQ community couldn't serve in their truth. And just thank you for everything.
Wow, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And you need to not cry like that, because because I'm very I get caught up in tears myself. So as a immigrant from a different country coming in and serving the United States Army, it's always been my pleasure. Ever since I was a young 20-year-old to where I'm at now. So, seeing stories of people serving and finding their inspiration and inspiring others to join. I mean, it's not always cookies and cream, as we've spoken to before, but the end goal and the end game as far as serving and getting lost in serving others and not being caught up in who takes credit is always the most satisfying thing about serving in Army medicine. So thank you again so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
I just want to.
We got one more. We got one
go
more
ahead.
comment. I'm sorry. Let's post it right here. It says, "I love the passion that inspires you to be who you are as an Army medical officer. I will share with my prospects." I'm thinking someone is checking out our discussion and will share this information. My bad about that, Holly. Go ahead.
No, I just want to thank you again, ma'am, so much for being here with us today and sharing just a little piece of your story, as well as some of the hardships that you faced, how you've overcame them. And, you're just truly, you're inspiring medical students that are tuning in and want to be OBGYNs and helping, put them on a path towards success. So, we just thank you for your time, and you've inspired me. I had chills a couple times, as you were talking and sharing stories. And, as Otis was saying too, we both are pretty heartfelt. So, if you cry, we'd probably be, we'd probably be in tears here pretty soon too. So,
I mean, I'm a landscaper's daughter from Levittown. My dad has done landscaping and my entire life, and he's worked hard. I've watched my mom work hard. I've watched my stepmom work hard, and it's just, it's when you look back and you're like, holy Christmas, how did I get here? It's just consistency and the talent mixed with the hard work, and the hard work being the majority of it.
Very much so. So thank you all again. Hang out in the broadcast room, ma'am, and let's go ahead and chat a little bit more. Okay, ma'am?
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Holly.
Thank you.
And so in closing in our discussion today with Dr. G, medicine woman, she is just absolutely excellent. She is inspiring. She is an OBGYN who's now going into aerospace medicine. How wonderful is that? How many opportunities do you have in this world to be able to serve your country, to be able to have a satisfying career, to be able to serve women, serve different people with different medical issues, and now getting a chance to explore and expand your medical, I guess, skill set. Only with Army medicine. Army medicine is that opportunity. So if you ever do want that chance to go ahead and join our wondrous band and serve in the different areas with Army medicine, we've got a point of contact right under there with Captain Holly Weaver. So send her a message, send her an email, send her something as far as a text even, she will reply back to you. And I would want to say thank you for joining and participating in our discussion today, the comments, the views, we really appreciate it. And we've got another one coming up next week, so look out for it. You're going to enjoy it. As we always say in closing, Army medicine is Army strong. Take care now. Bye.